Welcome back to Norfolk Perspectives. I got David Ricks, Director of Norfolk Public Works, and Sally Cook, Principal of Ruffner Academy here. David, I want to talk to you about these. You got these huge projects you're in charge of. $30-some million. You're starting the second phase of the courthouse, right?
That's correct.
So all these how does a partnership with the Ruffner Academy move that dial on the $30 million courthouse?
Well, one of the big things that, as any city employee, we're a public employee. And I've been here since December. And one of the things that I believe I'm making an impact in terms of the community. And so I try to instill on my team about how can we make an impact. And my theme to my team is Dare to be Great. And so one of my new employees talked about, can we partner with Ruffner Academy? I said, well, that sounds like a pretty decent idea. And then later on, there was a council meeting in terms of the Poverty Commission. Susan Perry from the city manager's office did a presentation that talked about different partnerships to really make an impact to the community. And one of the schools was Ruffner Academy. I said, oh, that's interesting. And so I talked with the city manager's office to make sure we're not duplicating anything. And what we're looking at doing is basically targeting our efforts in terms of the volunteer hours that the city gives every employee to make a tremendous impact to the school. And so we're trying to align basically a lot of the things that the city is doing with the Poverty Commission and with what I'm trying to do, not trying to do, but really to add value on top of what things people are already doing.
Cool. So because you're quickly taking notes during council, you caught that there's a pothole here and there's a street sign and there needs, you got all that down.
That is correct.
And you turn it over to a staff person and then you called Sally.
That is correct.
So what's happening, Sally, with this relationship then?
Well, we're still in the planning stages, but we have a lot of neat ideas. We're looking to make...
Does he know about some of these ideas?
He
or is
does.
this breaking news on the sofa?
He knows about it. We're looking to form some type of mentorship program. We're looking to provide activities where the students could apply real life experiences using the City of Norfolk to do that. We're looking to build our PBIS program, the positive behavior support piece.
Okay.
So we're definitely looking at those things along with tutoring, anything that can be done to enhance the student's life.
Okay, now can I remind you too that Ruffner is a middle school?
Yes.
And so what are the ages of these kids?
From 11 to 14, 15.
Favorite time of the
Absolutely.
of life.
Absolutely.
Do you know what these kids are like?
Oh, yeah, I was at that age one time, a long time ago.
Yeah, my girls are 33 and 31 now, so it's been a while. But so what do you, how are you going to pull it together?
Well, I think it's like anything else in your life, when you can do some positive things, and you need to have some great people working together. And so, I toured the school in terms of walking through the school with her and just walked around and saw the excitement in the classroom and the new experiences. Said, oh, we definitely got to do something to help these kids reach to another level. And so, I think the key thing is to inspire them to achieve their educational goals and achieve positive behavior. And how do you do that? There's a lot of different ways to do that. And everybody has different ideas, but the key thing is the results that we achieve by doing that. And so she's driving the boat. We're just trying to help her achieve those goals.
So you're jumping on the boat.
That is correct.
You mentioned something, and there was a commitment made with when Marcus was brand new as a city manager to work toward the 4 hours. So showing that kind of commitment that really we're as good as our schools.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So how do the kids picking up on this?
They like it. And the thing about it is if you can get the kids to buy into liking school, it just changes their whole perspective, their performance in school, their attendance, their behavior.
Okay, I got to say, some of my favorite people, some of my best friends are engineers. Is your goal to create all engineers coming out of Ruffner?
No, I think the key thing is as a young person, you're not sure what you want to do in life, and you have different things coming at you. And what we want to do, hopefully, is provide people an idea in terms of potential careers in public service.
Yeah.
And so if you look at the diversity of our workforce in terms of public works, like to expose some of those kids, some of the diversity in those career fields. They may not be an engineer, they may not be a plumber or a snowplow driver or a trash collector, but they say, well, maybe I can do something different. But the key thing is about giving back to the community, whatever that is, be a doctor, a lawyer, whatever that is. But the key thing is that, if you look at the average city employee, they're very dedicated, hardworking, and they love their job. And so how to convey that passion and commitment to service to our young people, because they're going to basically be taken over once we kind of part here.
I know a couple of weeks ago, before this taping, we did the Day of Caring, and there was a lot of enthusiasm at Ruffner.
Oh, yes.
So I think that idea of bringing people together, maybe of different backgrounds and different cultures. So I tell you what, guys, you're kind of creating this,
That's
right?
correct.
Do me a favor, and I know Robert's sitting over there, the employee that brought this to your attention. I want to have some kids on the sofa toward the end of the school year to talk about the successes that you guys had because of
Absolutely.
these ideas. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Excellent, outstanding.
Okay, cool. So I challenged Peggy to 50 years from now. This is just a cheap way to book the show ahead of time.
Right.
How's that? But I'd love to hear from the kids on what they're doing, because that's really what this is about, is investing
Yes,
in our
it
future.
is. Yes, it is.
Okay, now you got a list from council to take care of, right?
Of course.
Probably should let you off the sofa then, right? I want you to come back on too and talk about those $30 million projects.
That's no problem. I can do that.
Cool. Okay, great. Thank you. Hey, you know what? In fact, when we come back, we're going to be talking about ODUs going outside on Monarch Way. Stay tuned.